Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo. I'm your host and keeper of the Harry channel, and with me tonight are minions SkepTock.
Hi, everybody.
Sora Luna.
Hello.
And DrFunctional.
Hello.
Maybe we'll get a late Serenity Star 13. Maybe Geodes will sneak his way in here. Who knows? Anything could happen. Many things are possible. Before the show, gosh, what were we talking about that I said I'd get back to? Skep.
What was that?
What's that?
We were talking about something, and I said I'd get back to it. Damn it!
The Korean Jean-Pierre remark? Or
no, some other thing. Oh well. Anyway, before this all started, I was talking to Sora about cake. You made a cake today.
Well, like a pound cake, you know, that kind of coffee cake.
Still counts. And now you said it was a Dylan Hollis recipe?
Yes. So he's a really fun kid who does like all sorts of historical baking recipes as shorts. I think he has his own cookbook out now due to his
What's
success.
his
name? Dylan Hollis.
Dylan Hollis.
Yeah, he's fun. I like his stuff. He's quite funny.
Yeah,
but it just so happens that the one recipe like I saw today, like I was just the scroll of doom this morning, and I was like, oh, I have all but one of those ingredients. I can just pop out like a 5-minute walk and get that one ingredient, and I can make this, and I did.
Nice. What was the ingredient you were missing?
Coffee creamer, powdered coffee creamer.
Oh, good lord! Yeah,
it's an American recipe from the late 50s.
Okay, there is one recipe in that book that I.
Oh, and I didn't use lard because gross.
Oh, lard and baking is really good, honestly.
Lard is good. What's wrong with lard?
But there is a recipe in that book that you should avoid. Okay.
Not beef. And here they only have beef. It's
well,
gross.
there's lard and there's tallow. They're different things for different.
Yeah, beef tallow is different.
Yeah, I made a cake for an old English guy that I passed away a few years ago, but he was a really nice guy, and he'd been away from England for decades and decades, and I thought he might be feeling a little homesick, so I asked his wife, what might make him happy. What has he talked about? And it turned out that one of the things he liked was lardy cake, and because that's a traditional cake from where he came from, so I made him a lardy cake, and it used lard, which made it really kind of rich and weirdly good with a whole bunch of dried fruit. It sounds disgusting. It wasn't. It was pretty darn okay. And it was one of the random acts of kindness I try to do occasionally for people. I'm not good at forced fun, but if you give me a chance to just randomly be nice to some old English guy, I'll do it. So
lardy cake is not a pretty cake. It's kind of the sunfish of cakes, isn't it?
But it tastes really good.
Yeah, it looks really good, though.
Yeah, it's a good thing. But no, I'm glad you made a cake, because that already puts you one up on me. I didn't make a cake today.
That's right. You take the cake.
I didn't. Which is sad.
I ate it too.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Do you like chocolate?
Cake and ate it too.
I love chocolate.
You might want to look at, there's a kind of cake called Texas sheet cake.
Yeah.
And Texas sheet cake is really easy to make, and it's really easy to eat.
Girl Scout cake.
I heartily recommend, as a super easy cake recipe that's really good, Texas sheet cake. I will say that in terms of Dylan Hollis recipes, he has a thing called starchies, which is like a bunch of sweetened condensed milk and cornstarch, and you bake it, and it's absolutely terrible. If you run across that recipe in the book, just keep going. Other than that, most of his stuff, from what I've heard, seems to work pretty well. Good
to know what to avoid.
Yeah. The recipe for starchies. Just put a little earmark on that, and don't
starchies.
Starchies. It's a lot like eating sweet gypsum. It's just not. it's not good.
So if you were a paste eater back in the day, you might enjoy that.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Hi, Functional.
Hi.
How you doing, man?
I'm fucking tired.
I'm sorry.
Shnikes. I gotta remember not to swear in the first 3 seconds of the show because YouTube's dumb.
Maybe I should just not go to you first.
Just, the weekend cleaning stuff and then working because it was just one of those days.
Well, we've actually been live for 6 minutes and 30 seconds, so you're fine. Maybe I should just make a mental note. Just never go to functional first.
It'll be a team effort.
So I want to talk to Skep for a bit, and then we'll come back, and you wanted to talk a little about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right?
Oh, there's some fun stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about Madam Web or whatever it is you want to talk about, because I honestly don't know. But let's say hi to Skep. Hi, Skep.
Hi, everybody. Hello, America.
How are things in Skep land?
Well, the potatoes are in, and we're picking out other vegetables to grow, deciding and redeciding on how big the garden be, and sorting through the various generations of impatiens that we're basically GMOing, but we're letting Mother Nature do it by planting different impatiens next to each other just to get the paintbrush effect on the petals. And then let's see. So that's that. It's been quiet on the grandchild front, because one thing about my stepdaughter being a widow, she is her kids, when they get learner's permits, they can help her with the driving, and they can get their license actually about 4 months before everybody else can, because it's called a hardship permit, and they're allowed limited driving privileges. And it's amazing. They grow up, and all of a sudden they don't need grandparents anymore. I have a lot more time on my hands, because they're getting independent. They're starting to do things that, and now they're the ones driving the 10 and 11-year-old to their various activities.
But your guitar playing has probably benefited greatly from this.
Oh yeah, I am. The calluses on my left hand, the arthritis in both hands is really acting up. I'm practicing hours every day, and it's fun. I love to play. I just love to sit down with the guitar and play. There's almost nothing I'd rather do, truly.
Yeah.
And I've been having fun with it. And I have so many guitars. I can play any one of them anytime I want. It's great.
So how many guitars do you own?
I think it's 11. It's
nice.
Wow.
10 or 11. 10 or 11. And 9 of them function. Well, actually, I have a Les Paul ripoff that I've got to do some work on the electronics inside. I just need to solder one thing. I solder one wire is all I've got to do. And then and restring it, and then it'll be playable. But anyway. Yeah, that's been an interesting thing. Just having the time to just really focus on this stuff. It's been really pleasant. In addition to the other things of running a house around here and making sure all the stuff gets done, the dogs get walked, the lawn gets mowed, the garbage gets taken out. We don't hire servants. We run our house ourselves, even though they're ancient. So anyway, life's been good. Retired life really suits me. I'm having a ball.
Yeah.
And the thing is, see, that just hold forth here for a moment. I don't have a big desire to travel. I've been traveling my whole life. Do you know how good it is to have a home that you just can live in? I've been everywhere. I've been fucking everywhere. And I know what it all feels like. I have no desire to travel anymore. I truly don't. I'm the biggest homebody, so well suited for the sedentary life. In addition to that, though, I've been working out too, though, so I'm staying in shape.
Good job. No, that's all good. I don't actually particularly like travel, but if I'm going to travel, I'm going to make the most of it. Doesn't matter what stupid place you send me to, I'm going to find a way to have a good time. I'm going to take away some memory of it. Like like that trip to Fort Walton Beach that one time. I have told you about that. I had to go at the last minute because somebody else got ill.
Yes.
And so I had to pretend to be an expert in something that I wasn't like the primary source for. That was fun.
Sure. Real quick anecdote about my consulting days. losing technologies. I remember one time we went into my the C-level's office, and he was going to tell two of us where our assignments were. I was going to go and help a major bank in the Midwest do something in Cleveland, Ohio, and it was February. And the other guy said, got to go to Hawaii. And this was a guy I had trained and mentored. And I said, so the new guy goes to Hawaii and I go to Cleveland?
Oh, I would be so sore. I would have.
Yeah.
No, they weren't equivalent things. I was going to a 4+ rated job, and he was going to like a 2. So, where the way they rate the experience required.
Well, so you're dealing with a sea level. Couldn't you find somebody with a bit more altitude?
Yeah,
I'll be here all week. Anyway,
tip your waitress.
All right. So, I think before we get into it with functional, I just wanted to say, I've been thinking about, this is Harry's brief moment of introspection. I've been thinking about this show, doing this show, right?
Yes.
And some people have said, "Oh, you should quit your job and try to do this." No, that's not going to work. Because when I look at people, well, they hear about YouTube and they just think stupid things, right? And not necessarily about me personally, but people seem to think you can make money doing this sort of thing. And certainly, if you have the right skill set, you can make a decent living still, I think. You have to, in sort of our corner of YouTube, be provocative enough and likable enough simultaneously. And I guess one thing, when I decided to use my actual first name and the name of the channel just to kind of keep me on edge, is I don't want to be in a position where I'm just trying to in a race with everybody else to see if I can be more provocative than they can so people will like me. So instead, I just don't worry about that crap, So the show is
Be
what
yourself, Harry.
The show is what the show is, and hopefully people like it. And if they like it, they'll keep coming back. But because I know that sometimes the audience really likes it when you throw some red meat out there, find something that we're all really outraged about. But honestly, that's kind of exhausting. So if it's something that I'm really interested in, or one of you are interested in, we could talk about it. But I don't want to do like 2 hours of gloom and doom and stuff. There's people who do a way better job of it than me.
I imagine those grievance peddlers have a high turnover rate. Like, they have fairly consistent audiences, and the ones that I watch or have watched. But I would imagine is a higher turnover rate. Like, every time I go back to a channel that I would categorize as a grievance peddler, there always seem to be, there's obviously some consistent people, obviously, people who are, who like the content, pay for the content, or channel members, blah, 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 blah. But there's always seems to be new names popping up in and out. So I agree with you. It's probably not just exhausting for the person running that type of show, but also for the majority of the watching audience. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah. Well,
Harry, have you thought about doing an OnlyFans, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. What part of my anatomy will I focus on? Will it
elbow.
Be elbow? Get that little bit of loose skin on the elbow. Do you know what it's called? The weenus.
Nice.
Yeah. That's right. Professional weenus model.
Listen.
It's a fine looking weenus.
There's some freaky people out there you don't know.
Yeah. Oh, well. So, Functional, you want to talk about Madam Web or something in the MCU? I don't even know what. Just hit me.
What's been going on recently. So, actually, first of all, there's a continuation, revitalization of the old X-Men cartoon from the 90s.
X-Men 97.
In 97 is and the trailer dropped, and again, referencing the grievance peddlers, everybody's picking it apart with a whole bunch of blah, 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 blah. I thought, as somebody who's a massive fan of not only the comics, but of that show, I had all the comics growing up. Like Spider-Man, X-Men, that was my jam. My room was like wall to wall, like literally covering all my walls were just boxes of comic books. So I'm a huge fan of that stuff. I really, really liked the adaptation of the show. It obviously wasn't to fit in 50 years of comic books into a television show. I mean, come on, you can't. That's
No.
just an impossible task. So you have to kind of pick and choose where you're going to go with it. I thought they did a great job. And just from watching the trailer, because I'm not going to listen to what people have to say about it, I'm going to watch it myself. And just from seeing the trailer, which most of the time I don't watch a trailer, but I did because it's special to me. I was like, wow, this is pretty good. Like, it looks like a cleaner version of the earlier show. I'm like, okay, I'll watch this. Doesn't look like utter crap. Now, just to juxtapose that, because I just briefly wanted to touch on X-Men. The reviews are back from Madam Web. I haven't seen it yet. It hasn't been released yet. I haven't gotten it through my connections to get when I sometimes get things early to preview them and give feedback. It's not looking good. Even the reviews on things like IMDb are just complete and utter poop.
What is it? The Madame Web.
Madam Web is like this seer mystic chick, or chick. She's a very extremely old woman, like 270 something years. In the Spider-Man franchise. Yeah, and this is her now. It doesn't make any sense. And basically, she's because Spider-Man broke out of, and in the comics everything was more or less connected, and they had big crescendo type arcs like Infinity War, Secret War, those kinds of things. They eventually had to introduce new characters, and Madam Web was this very old woman who was a seer, kind of like a warning to Peter of grander things that like his spidey sense wouldn't pick up on because it's not immediate danger, but were big grandiose unfurling of plans and blah blah blah. And she was kind of like on his side, but also on her own side. She would, she was more of a gray character. It was very interesting for a side character. And so they made this new thing into I don't know what it is. Excuse me. Again, I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know.
Well, she doesn't shoot webs. Isn't she some sort of like web of causation? She can see the future sort of person?
Yeah, she's kind of like basically just like a seer.
Like a seer.
And she's like this old woman, like a mystic, not human, but like human. And a very like, for all intents and purposes, a minor character in the Spider-Man universe. Obviously, she did pull the strings. It's here and there. I mean, there's stories about everything. Comics have been around for a long effing time, so they've done some silly ass shit with it. But this is just such a departure, just on the look of it, from what is Spider-Man. And if the review, and again, reviews, take them or leave them. It's a little bit of Schadenfreude because I want to see Disney fail so badly that they have to sell Marvel to somebody, and maybe it'll be competent then. But I almost nothing that's come out under the Disney umbrella I've liked or thought was good. I've had fun with some of them. Infinity War was kind of fun, but like, it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
No.
Like the first Captain America was a very solid period piece. It just happened to have a superhero in it.
Yeah. Set design was actually quite good on that.
Yeah,
it was,
and
it was
Captain
worth
America
watching
was
with the sound
thriller.
off.
Like these are really well produced genre films that just happen to have superheroes, and it was really well done. But the stuff I don't know what's going on StreamYard. Things keep winking out on me in the visual plane.
Sorry.
I don't know if it's me or if it's on stream, but I just noticed it. Yeah, it is kind of whatever. It's not important.
Just keep playing through.
I'll probably watch this because I sat through the utter stink fest that were Eternals, Marvels, and the first few episodes of Miss Marvel. Not Miss Marvel. Is it Miss Marvel? The one with the Muslim chick. Where they really played up the Muslim part. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the part I want to talk about.
It's a little bit of Schadenfreude that they're failing so hard.
Yeah,
Because
well,
ideal, like in a perfect world, I'm sure we would all like to see, great stories being portrayed from the Marvel universe, but we're just not. Or I guess this is a TV show, right?
no, this is a movie.
Oh, it's a movie.
They're going to lose a lot more money
Direct
than
to
that.
Disney Plus.
No, it's actually going to be in theaters. I think it's in theaters now.
Oh, really?
That's how great a job they've done of promoting it. You didn't even know it was a thing you could go see at the theater.
I was gonna
I'm
ask because I thought it sounded like it would be a TV show, and I was about to ask, do you think it'll be something like campy, like Birds of Prey? Because that is not good, but it's a lot of fun.
Wait, you actually saw Birds of Prey?
I loved Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey was great. Ashley Scott and who's Dina Meyer, Dina Meyer and Rachel Skarsten, I think was the third one. She's really not very good at acting. Things she's been in since then, she was pretty terrible at, but she's okay in Birds of Prey.
I loved it. It was like.
Oh, and what was great was, who was it? Mia Sara played
bad guy.
Dr. Harleen Quinn, and she's so good. Yeah, Birds of Prey is definitely screw Marvel. Just go back and watch episodes of Birds of Prey on Tubi. It's fine. Yeah.
Nice on Tubi. I love
Yep.
Good to know.
I think DC's animated game is super strong. Their stuff is really good. Like there was one Superman versus the Fantastic Five or something stupid like that. And I mean, it ends up, and a little bit of a spoiler, but it ends up Superman gets so frustrated with this guy and he's really powerful. He just ends up lobotomizing him with his heat vision. Like he had enough and then he just snaps. And it's really good because you think that he like kills all these guys, but he really just disables or defeats them and doesn't kill any of them. Their animated game is really good.
Yeah. Now you have the IQ of a
like,
self-driving
good
car.
Marvel,
Yeah.
even the older stuff like the Spider-Man TV show, the X-Men TV show, pretty good stuff.
Yeah. Well,
it's all just it's all pre-Disney stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can literally look at all the content that Disney, all the IPs that Disney has bought up, and watch the decline in both quality and viewership. It's, again, Schadenfreude. I've never liked Disney. I fucking hate Disney as a company.
Well, back when they made the first,
ever been good.
When they made the first version of Fantasia, they were good, but that was like a long time ago.
That is the one. Fantasia was brilliant.
I would just like to say that Disney does to entertainment what Burger King does to fast food.
Burger King's number 3 now.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't mind Burger King.
Wendy's is actually taking over the number 2 slot.
It's also different in the States than it is in Canada.
Yeah.
Like noticeably so. Like anytime I've gone down there and tried, McDonald's or Burger King or whatever fast food joints that we have up here, it's very different. It's so surreal.
Well,
is meat still allowed in Canada?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that.
It was banned.
We just have to pay for their farts.
So Skep, you remember back when you were
also hijacked
when you were younger and you would see things like Sears, right? And Sears was just this big juggernaut. Like, imagine the idea of Sears going out of business. That's just crazy talk. How could that happen? I
remember when Sears was what was it? The third largest retailer in the world.
Yeah, I'm getting the same vibe off of Disney that I started to get off of Sears as it just started to enter its decline.
Yeah.
This whole idea that something's too big to fail. No, it's not.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Sears has a lot of variable costs. Disney is a fixed cost place that, it's just people being creative, basically. I mean, there is plant equipment, that kind of stuff. But in terms of that, they can sit and get make themselves culturally well. They've got such a pot of money. I was looking at their money. They can sustain a lot of flops for a while.
Oh yeah, that's why I said the beginning. And that's why I said vibe. I'm not claiming that it's the same thing, but I'm just saying
it's going to be a slow decline.
It's giving me a little feeling of deja vu.
Well, the thing about that, the thing about that is that I don't know if it's going to be slow, because I do think it will happen. Well,
no, they have all this cash, Jack. That's the thing. They can afford to suck for longer than you think.
Yeah, they can afford it, but do you expect the sort of people who are this sucky to make good financial decisions and not just totally blow everything? I mean,
do you know what their cash on hand is? Their cash on hand, you ready for this, is $7.19 billion.
And that's not even including value of assets, right? Like liquid
no, that's cash on hand.
Cash.
That is cash money. I mean, it's not dollar bills. It's maybe. It's,
well, I'm sure some of it is for their parts. No,
yeah.
I get you.
Yeah, that's just it's unbelievable amount of money. That's more than the gross domestic product of Poland. Jesus.
Yeah, Poland produces better music.
I'm gonna watch Madam Wed this week, and I'll report back to you how awful it was, Harry, next week.
No,
wait for pitch meeting to come out with it. They'll skewer pretty well.
Yeah. All right.
One thing. It's not just Disney though. It's a lot of things. Obviously, we know them. I'm not going to list them all, but something that's actually kind of surprised me this season was Halo show. As Halo, it is god awful. It is not Halo. And it's another one of those shows where you can kind of see it was a generic sci-fi kind of script that they slapped the Halo IP veneer over top. And I kind of detached my brain from it being Halo, and I'm like, this is actually kind of fun, just like action. One of the excuse me, the opening to this is only season 2. Season 1 was kind of but the opening scene to season 1 was one of the best fight scenes I've seen in quite a long time. It's just too bad the rest of the show's quality isn't that great.
I'm sorry, but I don't care how good your writing is. If it is not up to the quality of the thing that you are, or sorry, not the quality, but if it is not in line with the IP you're borrowing
the mythos,
from,
yeah,
then make your own IP.
Yeah,
make
do something original. IP. It's called originality.
Yeah. Like I said, Jack, if this didn't have that Halo veneer, I would be excuse me, I don't know why I'm so short of breath right now. I would be like telling everybody I know who likes sci-fi to watch this show. I'd be like, this is not as good as something like The Expanse, but it's still fun to watch. You know, it's got like space marines and alien invasions and cool shit is happening. And yeah, but because it's Halo and it basically pisses all over the mythos that it that it's borrowing from, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. Also, kind of a little ashamed to tell people that, hey, I found a scene that was actually
good. Can I go on a brief aside? You talk about the decline of Disney. I think that the decline, it seems to be pretty much across the board, not even in the entertainment industry, but in industry in general.
You mean entertainment industry in general?
No, I mean everything. I mean like
arts and entertainment. Yeah.
No,
everything Amazon.
No. Well, okay. All right. Go on.
I mean, like Amazon, like Google, like it seems to me as though the biggest industries in America right now are all just producing worse and worse product all the time.
Well, and worse by what standard, though? That's the thing. Sorry, I'll let you finish. I'll let you finish your thought. Wrap it up, and then I'll.
Okay. Google, for example, you type in a search on Google, you get back a crappy result, so that or you get back a long AI generated result that doesn't really answer your question. Or you go to Amazon and you type in a product and you get a whole bunch of results that aren't related to the thing that you typed in. You go to the media company and they say, oh, well, we have the product for you, and then they show you the product and it's not what you wanted, because it's something that's totally different. And so what it seems to me is though it's almost as though there's like this industry standard of making you a promise of something and giving you something totally and utterly unrelated.
I don't think the whole world of business is in a general state of decline. I do think that if you're worried about the quality of the goods, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a decline in quality, but I don't know if all the industries are as unhealthy as you paint them to be, because ultimately people are going to vote with their dollars, right? I mean, I kind of get your point, but I'm not sure that it's as gloomy as all that. It's just sort of the ongoing better, faster, cheaper, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, because people like cheap stuff, and because people will buy things that are cheaper and of lower quality, as long as they're cheap and they show up quickly. It's kind of hard to fight with that. It almost makes the whole idea of these people with these douchebags with too much money buying bespoke things, right? Yeah. It's almost like a fetish to have bespoke things now, because that shows, I'm not like the rest of you plebs. I actually care about the quality of things.
Well, yeah, it's because the hipsters got into it. The hipsters got into the food, and you got foodies, and now all of a sudden the cheap cuts of beef at the store that used to be reserved for the poor people are now the artisan items that go into special fancy dish.
Yeah, I want my Kobe hanger steak. It's like, what is wrong with you?
Kobe hanger steak. Yeah, baby.
Hanger steak is excellent, and it used to be
hanger steak. I was
like a secret.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been raving about that for years.
Steak too.
Remember, tri-tip used to be cheap. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Tri-tip's not even that good. Sorry, Santa Maria, but I mean, seriously.
But I don't necessarily think that it's all industry in general. I think it's more of a top-down effect. I think that the largest industries are the ones that are most affected by this. And in this case, I would say that it's entertainment and the Amazon and the big ones, the big companies. I think that if you go to like the medium chain stuff, like the supermarket that's available in the tri-state area, those aren't nearly as bad off as opposed to the international corporation type of thing.
Well, people will vote with their dollars and we'll see revealed preference. It's almost a mistake to try to make sense out of, to kind of shake your fist and go, why I wish people had higher standards, yada, yada, yada. I mean, the fact that Amazon does what it does is amazing to me.
I was going to pass on to you that entertainment business is not even in the top 10 biggest industries in America. I'll give them to you right now. I've got them sitting here in front of me. Commercial banking, drug and cosmetics is number 2, health medical is 3, hospitals is 4, pharmaceuticals is 5. Seeing a pattern here. 6 is new cars. 7 is life insurance and annuities. 8 is, get ready for this, public schools in the U.S. It's an industry.
No.
Mm-hmm.
9 is gasoline and petroleum wholesaling, and 10 is retirement and pension plans in the U.S. Mostly it's pension plans.
Yeah. So for those at home, if you break those down by products versus services, just kind of think about that ratio a little bit some other time, because otherwise we could spend the entire show talking about economics. And I'm trying to keep things light here, so I want to actually go to the first planned topic, if that's okay. Oh, by the way, Jack, hi.
Hi.
I never got around to giving you a proper greeting.
Hey, Jack.
Hi, Sora.
Welcome, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. I like the fact that only half of your logo is showing up. Let me see. I should probably fix that at some point.
Maybe it's a placeholder of food, as it were.
Yeah, maybe it is a placeholder of food. I can never remember what to hit in OBS to resize versus to move. Let's just not touch it. It's probably safer this way.
Yes.
For the record, I'm not feeling well, so I'm not supposed to be here. So I'll be here the whole time, and I'll probably be at the after show, and I'll feel terrible tomorrow. But I just to let you know.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're gonna take it really easy on you, man. Don't worry about it.
No, I'm just playing around.
So, Skep, I think you might
Yeah.
be the only one who's going to know the answer to this question, but do you know what happened in musical history in February 12th, 1924?
February 12th of 1924 would have been in the 8th grade. No, what happened?
It is the, 100th anniversary plus a few days of Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin.
Oh, I should have guessed something with Gershwin. Sure.
Yeah. So, if I had realized this before the last show, we could have talked about it. But it kind of snuck up on me, and I'm like, God damn it, what is wrong with me? Because
Rhapsody in Blue is a very special piece for me. For those of you who just a little personal note, my mother got her master's degree in classical piano. Did most of the work at Juilliard, which is a top musical school in New York City. And I grew up with a Steinway baby grand in our living room. Wherever we moved, we were an Air Force family. We picked up and moved every 2 or 3 years. I got so good at helping pack up that piano, disassembling and helping the piano, that I helped the piano tuners when they would come over to put it together and get it ready to be shipped to our next duty station. So that was a big thing. And one of my mother's favorite pieces to practice was Rhapsody in Blue, and she would play the whole thing through. And I would lie under this baby grand piano by her feet, next to the pedals, and I would just listen to her play, and it was an amazing sound. Anyway, it's just when you say Rhapsody in Blue, that just has such meaning to me. I can't even tell you.
Show of hands of the people on the panel. Jack, are you familiar with this piece?
I'm going to remain silent on the issue of my opinions on Gershwin based on
you
that
can have whatever
impassioned
opinions you
plea.
want, but are you familiar with it?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Sora.
I am not.
Okay. Functional.
Nope.
Okay. I was kind of curious because I have no way of knowing. So, jazz and classical were like oil and water. They didn't really mix. And this is old-timey jazz we're talking about.
Yep.
There was George Gershwin was pretty popular as somebody who did show tunes. You know, he was a popular guy. He wasn't a classical composer per se. His brother and them were basically having breakfast, and in the newspaper, there was a thing saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to be having this this sort of jazz fusion classical concert thing in about 5 weeks, and it's going to be put on by like the king of jazz, and the everybody who is somebody is going to show up." And Gershwin's like, "I already said no, I wasn't going to do this." So a phone call was made and apologies were made, and there was a discussion, and it was essentially told to Gershwin that if he didn't do it, there was somebody else who was really interested in doing it. And it's like, fine. So in 5 weeks, with the help of somebody who was good at orchestration, because he didn't really know how to do orchestration for classical style music, he ended up producing this massively iconic piece of music in 5 freaking weeks, which is kind of amazing. And you guys have probably all heard it because it's used in so much commercial stuff. It was not easy to find something covered by Creative Commons that I could actually bring up just to give you a sample.
Oh, we can hear it?
Yes.
Great.
Now, there are a number of themes in this song. You know, so even if you haven't heard that, you may have actually heard some of the others because it's been featured in the openings to the movie Manhattan. But of course, people, as much as you hate Gershwin, Jack, I bet you hate Woody Allen even more. Also, like,
I actually don't hate Woody
Oh,
Allen.
you don't hate Woody Allen. Okay. United Airlines used it in a lot of their advertising like 10, 20 years ago. it's become almost synonymous with New York in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I think Gershwin is a pretty interesting guy. It's a shame that he died so young. But I'm not going to
see the first printed picture on the album. That was actually an album my parents had, and this was it wasn't a 78, but it was an LP.
Well, I'm going to put a link in the chat to a really good thing.
It had a stylized drawing of New York, the skyline silhouetted, little yellow windows and that kind of thing, and a starry night. It just was an iconic album cover, and they sold it that way for years.
Yeah, it's quite the thing. And in terms of, I think this article here had reviews were sort of mixed. The audience had no idea what just hit them. One of those, you're there for something important.
It's like
but
hearing
something
Steely
important
Dan
just
for
happened.
the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it was a big deal. There was a movie made about it, which I think is just called Rhapsody in Blue. Was it 1954? Warner Brothers, something like that. It's a really, I find it to be kind of an interesting story. I got into classical music because everybody around me had terrible taste. I just came from a land of adults had bad taste, all the kids had bad taste. Disco was big, and I just started getting into classical. And I always liked sort of the Baroque stuff and some of the early classical period stuff. But as soon as you start getting into the swelling Rachmaninoff, Tchaikovsky sort of thing, I kind of lost me. I didn't really like it. And I remember hearing Gershwin.
Listen to Rocky IV. Listen to Rachmaninoff.
No,
Fourth.
I'm not going to. But Gershwin was like
hardest piano piece ever written, my friend.
Difficulty doesn't change my enjoyment. But but when I heard Gershwin for the first time, it was the first sort of classical music that kind of gave me goosebumps. It really sort of hits you. But there's a link in the chat. Anybody who's interested to learn more about it, that's there. And I wouldn't link this particular performance. There's way better ones, like the one with Leonard Bernstein.
Leonard Bernstein.
Yeah, just start picking and choosing.
Definitional performance.
But I'm going to keep this short because I know this is probably a pretty polarizing topic.
But it's funny because George Gershwin's teacher, Maurice Ravel, is one of the composers that gives me goosebumps. Yeah.
What do you like by Ravel?
Pavani,
other than Bolero,
Pavane.
Pavan for a Dead Princess.
Yeah, I don't know the pronunciation.
That's my favorite piece is Pavan. Yeah. Absolutely.
I love that. I love that song. I adore that song.
Well, there's no way to segue from this to the next
common
thing.
Ground achieved.
So
there you go.
we're gonna just
quickly.
Do it. Okay. California Senate candidates spar over Dems' proposal for $50 minimum wage. Yeah.
Sure.
Barbara Lee is like a world-renowned lolcow. She is a complete moron. Okay. I mean, she makes Karine Jean-Pierre look like a rocket surgeon. She is dumb, even by like Diane Abbott standards. This woman is.
Julie Abbott looked like a genius.
Yeah, so we don't need to spend a lot of time on that, but there's basically a race for the leftover Senate seat in California, and oh man, we've got some great candidates. Well, we've got a former athlete, Steve Garvey, who's probably the only relatively conservative one there, and then the rest of it's just a race to the bottom, from what I can tell. It's pretty bad. Don't worry, you're going to get the same consistently fine quality of senator you've always received from California once we pick one of them.
It's not going to be Steve Garvey.
It's not going to be Steve Garvey. Because they're already putting out the ads from the PACs talking about, is Steve Garvey too conservative for California voters? Yeah, actually. And he's not even that conservative. California's just that stupid. Yeah. All right. So I have a whole section here of what I call bad and/or weird science. Our ability to measure things has just got people just all puckered up all the time.
Oh,
chemical that may cause infertility found in Cheerios Quaker Oats.
Yeah.
So what is it? What's in it?
Chlormequat is the
No.
name of the chemical.
What did you just call me?
Chlormaquat.
It's not a very sexy name.
No, that's going to be something that comes through probably on the germ of the nut. Well, probably. How would that?
So what they did is they basically tested a bunch of people, and they found that in, I think it was urine samples, that of 80% of the people had some trace of this. We can measure stuff in such infinitesimal quantities
But
that
that's a hard thing to make. That family of chemicals is hard to make.
yeah.
That comes through you. That doesn't get made inside you. That's not a metabolite.
But it's just not worth worrying about. But everybody is so worked up on this sort of stuff that we've got this article, and then we've got this article. Researchers use electron beams to eradicate forever chemicals in water. Why? Why would I do something so extreme as to try to break up tiny pieces of plastic with an electron beam?
Purity spiral.
Yeah. I mean, this is just
That's a good reason.
just sort of crazy. And then there's this article. Study visually captures a hard truth. Walking home at night is not the same for women. So they showed a bunch of pictures to people and then sort of looked to see where people's eyes sort of focused. So, you've got on the left displayed imagery, right? And then so the women who looked at this image looked left and right and straight ahead. The heat map is totally different. Whereas the guys were sort of like, every now and then look to the side and just keep looking straight ahead. And this is the same for this set of images. Now,
that just means women are generally smarter than men, which I suspect is.
It could mean a lot of things.
They're more sensible.
I mean, I would hope that everybody would have situational awareness. The men are trying not to fall over their feet, and the women are trying not to have somebody jump out at them from the bushes. But if you look at the amount of violent crime that affects men, the number of men who get mugged, the men probably should be looking more to the left and the right. But you can take this kind of article and make out of it whatever you want to make. I kind of hate articles like this because they don't really go into any kind of depth. Here's a little thing. This isn't so much weird as, is this bad or weird? I'm not sure. Scientists invent new hybrid food by growing beef inside grains of rice.
I'm just reminded of that meme from a few years back where they did surgery on a grape, and they kind of show that like picture of like peeling the grape skin back, and they layer on the phrase they did surgery on a grape in several different ways. I don't know. It's so stupid.
Yep. It's in its infancy, but lab-cultured meat could be one means of easing the pressure, and Korean scientists have found an innovative way to make it. They've invented a new hybrid food consisting of cells of bovine fat and muscle grown inside grains of rice.
Wait, what?
The result resembles a strange combination of meat mince and rice of pink, sticky grains. But according to a team led by biomolecular engineer Shemp of Yonsei University, the mashup is rich in nutrition, and although a little labor-intensive to produce now, could one day eat foods. Yeah, Soylent Pink. Just give me the damn beef and stop bugging me.
Yeah. Well, I actually approve of the attempts to find a substitute for beef. Let me tell you, if you could make something easily and cheaply and synthetically that was beef without having to use cows, you could make it from sorghum or something. You'd probably make a lot of money.
So what would it be? Would it be Bice or
Bryce?
What would we call this? Brees?
Yeah.
Reef?
Brief?
Reef.
No, reef.
Reef?
Reefer.
I don't know. This just looks kind of nasty. I mean, it's a cool trick, though, don't you think? I mean, science-wise, the fact that they managed to science this into this
flesh sherbet.
Yeah.
Something, flesh pudding. Yum.
I wonder if it comes in chicken flavor.
It's a function of how hungry.
Oh. How about biryani? If you've heard of the Indian dish biryani.
No, I haven't heard of that.
Oh, damn it.
Heard of biryani, but not beefy-on-y. Is there not a lot of beef in Indian cooking to begin with?
Well, yeah, I know. Hey, I'm trying over here. It's
Not or
difficult to come
feather.
up with
No, I
comments and
get in
words.
trouble sometimes. A nice lady who used to cut my hair a few years ago, she had like this lucky cat thing on her. She's from Vietnam. She had this little lucky cat thing on her table. And I remember asking her, I said, why isn't there such a thing as a lucky dog thing? And then I said, oh, wait, never mind. We both had a good laugh.
Yes.
Because he got 8. All right, let's see.
Answers still lucky.
I mean, it hasn't been particularly dire, but we should probably have a palate cleanser because we have a bunch of them. Let me see. Palate cleansers.
Always time for a palate cleanser.
Oh, let's see. We've got a Black History Month. Black History Month fail. You ready for this, Sora?
Do it.
No.
Oh,
No.
shit.
So bad.
Oh no.
People in supermarkets really should pay attention to
Oopsies.
where they put these things. Oh, by the way, we have a lovely thing to end the show on, so you definitely should stick around. If you like this, you're gonna love what the end of the show is like.
Oh dear.
How about this article? Waymo issues recall after 2 of its vehicles strike the same pickup truck.
Wait, what? What?
I love that. That is an amazing headline.
Isn't that great?
Wait, what?
Waymo issues recall after 2 of
Someone?
its vehicles strike the same pickup truck.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No. This someone had it in for whoever that pickup owner is.
Yeah.
This is deliberate.
The pickup truck was being towed, actually, when they ran into it.
Do they try and mate? Is that what's going?
You know, sometimes when 2 cars
Like
love each other
whales or
very
something?
much.
Like moths to a flame.
Yeah. AI is great. On December 11th, the Waymo vehicle struck a pickup truck being towed backwards across the middle turn lane and right travel lane. A few minutes later, a second Waymo vehicle made contact with the same pickup truck.
Soon they were competing over
story
the
so
pickup
much.
truck.
So is it the Waymo vehicle's fault or is it the pickup truck's fault for being too hittable by Waymo?
What was the pickup truck wearing? Exactly.
Well, since it was being towed, it might have been backwards even. Who knows?
Yeah, just hanging out.
She was just in the right position.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The pickup truck
exactly.
was asking for it.
Yeah.
Also, it didn't listen very well. Anyway,
Anyway.
Oh,
you want one more, Sora?
yes.
Okay. Veni vidi
I know
conveni
this one. This is
concetti.
good.
I came, I saw, I fit, I fit, I sit.
This is very good.
That's very
I like
nice.
this one.
That's a good
Yeah.
one. Okay. All right. So let's see. We've done bad science. Let's see. Now we have bad journalism.
Yeah.
Actually, partisanship is good when the other side is totally insane GOP, or today's insane GOP. I know this is just an opinion piece, but no. No, I don't think partisanship is good at all, because that essentially just means that you're a loyal brand follower, right? You go,
Yeah.
I've picked my brand, and I'm not going to listen to the lies about my brand, and I'm not going to listen to the claims from the other brand. You just kind of like shut your mind off.
Yep.
I hate to say this, but Republicans are not always right about stuff, and Democrats aren't always wrong about stuff. I mean, most of the time, but
It's easy to get caught up, though, in that partisanship stuff, and you get so far locked into that side that part of it is the camaraderie that allows you to gloss over inconveniences in your arguments. And, each side has areas where they have a stronger argument one way or the other. The way the conservative and liberal wings are lined up right now, I don't think that's really the most important axis to measure political power by. I actually think it's by whether or not you want totalitarian rule by government, or if you want more liberty. that's the axis by which I think people's politics ought to be arrayed.
Well, notice this says partisan. It doesn't talk about like your political alignment, on the D&D politics chart. It says partisan, which simply means, are you a loyal follower of brand A and brand B? And sometimes they switch, because I can remember a time when a lot of the bad stuff the liberals are doing now, or the Democrats are doing now, was stuff that the Republicans wanted to do. They just weren't as good at it.
The problem that I see is that while it's not, I do agree, I don't think it's a good thing that for anyone to be a partisan. I do think that there is more partisanship coming from one side of the political aisle than the other. And so ultimately, I think that part of the Democrat identity is tied inherently to how partisan you are, to how much you are willing to ignore for the party.
It's like a no true Scotsman kind of thing. Which is why I don't like, in some ways, I don't like this idea. Somebody say, well, are you Republican, you a Democrat, you libertarian, what are you, right? They want to give you a label. And then because humans are social animals, they want to there's a tendency to try to be a good version of that. So have you heard me talk about annoying lesbian woman before, Jack?
Which one?
There's only one annoying lesbian woman in my life, but
it's somebody
I
capital letters.
I used to know, and she was sort of naturally by disposition kind of based, but then she decided to join the team, and I could see her literally struggling and saying out loud that I know I'm supposed to think X because now I'm a lesbian, right? And she'd say that. I mean, you could see her. She wasn't like terribly clever. She would just think out loud about, oh yeah, I'm a lesbian, so I'm supposed to think this, and then she'd just kind of mentally check herself and hit the reset button, and then she'd be, back to doing things the way she was supposed to because of the team she picked.
God.
And I was just like, can't you just be your own person and just go, well, they got this thing right. Anyway, sorry, I'm being a little preachy, but this is just a garbage article. This is a garbage article, and I hate it. Let's make fun of this woman.
Okay.
New York Magazine's financial advice columnist admits she lost $50,000 to scammer claiming to be CIA agent.
This is a God. What I don't believe anything she said.
You don't believe she got scammed?
No, she may have. I don't know. There's nothing about her that sounds believable to me. None.
She looks trustworthy.
Yeah.
She looks so East Coast, it's not even funny.
Yeah, I was going to say, how New York does that look?
Yeah, she'd fit in DC. Sorry, go ahead.
May I postulate that the scammer actually was a CIA agent?
You could postulate it. I mean, it could be. This is a new kind of civil asset forfeiture where they just trick people into giving them the money and then run away.
Right, yeah.
The CIA agent really just needed an iTunes gift card. It was for their child's birthday,
Yeah. Well, this, there was a show that I used to like, this one right here. It was on AMC. It was called Hustle, and it was around for many seasons. And it's really good.
Like the kind of like
Robert Vaughn,
like short, chubby guy, not chubby, but stocky, short guy.
That guy?
Am I thinking something else? Hold on.
Robert
I'm
Vaughn.
thinking of something completely else. Sorry.
But this show is actually really good, and they, every single episode is basically them. It's obviously fictional, putting on a con. But I did sort of, after watching many seasons of this, kind of put away in my memory these ideas about like how do con people work, right? Because I assumed there was at least some element of truth to it to make the story compelling. And, in terms of cons, normally you would say, well, you can't really con an honest person because the lever that you use to con somebody is usually something like greed. Honest people are really hard to con because you can't dangle this mythical carrot like, oh, I'm going to sell you this bridge or I'm going to sell you this building that I don't own. That stuff doesn't work on honest people for the most part. So I wonder what it is. What was the hook? Did she think that the future of the world depended on giving $50,000 in cash in a shoebox to the CIA?
Did you read the story?
I read it about a week ago. Yeah.
Yeah. read the stories. Does that ring true? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yep. A financial advice columnist for New York Magazine admitted she scammed out of $50,000 by a con man who claimed to be a CIA agent, offered her to stuff a shoebox full of cash, and ordered her to stuff a shoebox full of cash and hand it to a courier in a white Mercedes, as one does. Charlotte Cowles, who pens financial advice column for The Cut, the digital fashion news site that operates under the umbrella of New York Magazine, wrote a first-person account on Thursday titled, "The day I put $50,000 in a shoebox and handed it to a stranger, I never thought I was the kind of person to fall for a scam." Well, you know, it's a social engineering attack. They happen online. They also happen with real people. I just wonder how they managed to get under this woman's skin, because this is a thing that shouldn't not have ever happened.
No, I mean, the way that you do that is you say, I'm a CIA agent, and if you don't do this, you're going to go to federal prison.
Oh, so Cowles wrote the man, told me my home was being watched, my laptop had been hijacked, and we were in imminent danger. So he used the fear lever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If somebody said that to me, Jack, I would have questions.
Well, yeah.
You're going to put me in federal prison, are you? Really? Which one?
But
what court? Just tell me what court will be tried in. Impress me and tell me what court will be in.
But Skep, you're missing an important fact. You're a human being, and this is a journalist.
Oh yeah.
There's that. Yeah, it's true. I'm a primate.
Yeah. Well, we've got this, another terrible article. Yet another annoying study about double standards at work shows social climbing works for men, but backfires spectacularly for women. I actually took the time to read into this. This is a great article because the person who wrote it, Jessica Stillman, spends most of the time linking to other articles that are by Jessica Stillman. So she's giving herself a journalistic reach around over and over and over again here.
That's called onanism.
Yeah, okay. Age and experience cause people to rate men as more competent at their jobs. Okay, while middle-aged women are seen as less likable and rated worse. Humor makes men come off as confident. Women who tell jokes are seen as lightweights. I read into the one paper that she referenced here, and it talks about this thing called expectation theory, meaning how is it that people react to things that they're not expecting? And it really started out originally as people talking about having their personal space violated and it making them uncomfortable, but it's been extended to all sorts of other sorts of things. And the whole paper reads like this postmodernist fantasy.
Of course.
The thing what they're missing here is that there's selection bias. Mm-hmm. So, what kind of people typically try to achieve excellence in these kinds of areas? What kind of person makes the personal sacrifices to try to climb up the corporate ladder?
In fairness, I'm going to say that women have a harder time of it, especially if they're trying to get up in management. If they're trying to climb up in management, at least as of about 10 years ago. And what ends up happening is the ones that make it up to the, higher levels of management are pretty hard-bitten, utterly dedicated, workaholic, maniac people, and that perpetuates, the overall perception that these people are hard and they're mean and they're all women, and of course it's easy to just stereotype and prejudice from there.
Yeah. Well, there are two places where women get really disadvantaged in this kind of business. One is in negotiations. They often tend not to be as aggressive in negotiations, and that's just temperament. Okay. Pre-flop aggression is great in poker. It's also really good in salary stuff. The other thing is a lot of the Me Too stuff has really set women back because it's almost impossible to get a man with a lot of experience to act as your advisor in some businesses because it's just not worth the risk to the guy. So where they would have previously been able to get a mentor who was like an older successful man, the older successful men are like, sorry, I like you, but it's just not worth my time.
Yeah.
Sora, last I checked, you were a woman. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, no, that feels quite true, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You don't want to be, it's good practice not to be alone in a room with a female coworker or a mentee or whatever, unfortunately, nowadays. For both sides, because you never know, but since Me Too, where a touch on an elbow to guide you through a doorway is now considered assault.
That's rape.
Yeah.
That's
There's
weenus
no
fondling is
difference.
what that
There's no
is.
It's
difference.
hard and it sucks.
Yeah.
So
My
Sora,
weenus, my choice.
Did a man touch you on the elbow, Sora?
Show me on the doll, witch.
Show me on the doll. That's just what I was thinking. Point to where, point on the doll.
My weenus.
Yeah, but the
Get your hands
exactly.
off my weenus.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty funny. That is pretty funny.
Well,
Oh,
I just don't like this article because, first of all, like I said, she's basically just referring to her own other articles, which is just terrible, right? She's trying to prove a point using her own words to prove a point. And these things always fall short because they just never get past that first layer of analysis to talking about, okay, well, human beings choose things for particular ways. You know, many women choose to go into healthcare fields, for instance. Many women choose to do a lot of things. Many men bias toward other kinds of work. Until you factor in the selection bias and like the kind of personality a person needs to succeed in these things, it just feels really incomplete. But she gets to make a living just writing these articles, so that's fun for her. Let's see. Oh yeah, and of course this little nugget. Working fathers are the new targets of microaggression, and they are worried they could be getting daddy tracked.
Wait, what?
Okay, working fathers are the new targets of microaggressions, and they are worried they could be getting daddy tracked. So what this article basically says is that full-time fathers, who do maybe work from home a little bit, but, the primary caregiver fathers are experiencing microaggressions, where people say, well, can't you work late? Why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? The same kinds of things that women have complained about for a long time, trying to hold down a job and raise a family. But to me, this just means maybe it isn't so much about women being oppressed as just raising kids is really hard while you're trying to do a job.
Yeah.
Because to me, this article says exactly the opposite of what they're trying to say. It basically means that it wasn't really about people's genitals all along. If you're the person who puts in 12 hours trying to get ahead because you're really career driven and you don't have kids versus the person who has to leave to pick up their kids from soccer practice, and you're perceived as not getting further ahead with the additional work, there's going to be a little bit of friction. I'm not saying I know what the right answer is because obviously society has to have kids and all that sort of stuff, but I can see why some people would be pissed off toward the people who are more on the parent track, regardless of whether they're male or female. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I just found this to be a ridiculous title. And first of all, microaggressions, not a real thing.
I don't understand what daddy tracked means.
Well, it
I
says,
still don't. Is it because it's like, oh, now they're being nitpicked about, oh, you can't do this?
well, here's some of the verbiage. So, can't your wife do that? I always put my career first, and my family turned out fine. Must be nice to go home early, said to a father after he said he had to leave to take care of his sick child. These are all real statements that managers have said to men seeking to be more present in their families' lives. Today, as different ways of working collide, men who want to be full-time parents are facing the types of discrimination at work that working moms have dealt with for decades. Yeah, it isn't about the gender. It's about the fact that
Position.
that you have chosen to sort of put other things outside of work as being important in your life too, and there's competition. I mean, we kind of need to support people that are trying to have families, don't get me wrong. But I can understand why somebody who chose a different path might be annoyed.
It sucks because it does feel very anti-family, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think that this whole thing, just to be a little bit equality driven, I guess we're not in the 50s or whatever. There's, I don't know, a lot of these sentimentalities have to kind of become more modern, just because it's like, hey, just for pragmatic sake, you want an American society, a Canadian society, whatever. Well, to get that, your society needs to have children. Well, there's declining birth rates everywhere because it's expensive to have children. People don't want children. You're dealing with this from work. So, like, what the hell? But I suppose one random manager is going to look at you and say, well, it's not my problem to fix the birth rate, so I can be as shitty to my employees as I want. I don't know.
Yeah, well, managers do that.
It is frustrating. Like, I feel bad for the people who get that, because that's just sounds like it's a sour, useless manager who says things like that to you.
What's your problem with golf, Jack? What the hell is your problem with golf? Why are you going after golf? I think we can all agree to hate soccer now, but you have to drag golf into it for some reason.
I said soccer is worse than golf.
Oh, soccer is worse than golf, but that still sort of implies that golf is terrible.
I didn't say anything about the
soccer
golf.
Soccer is full of extremely handsome, good-looking, fit men. Golf is not. Ergo, golf is trash.
Yeah, you're not the first woman I've heard say that, Sora. It's like, why are you watching that game? Well, I mean, just look at these guys is what they tell me.
Especially the ones who keep their hair a bit longer.
Yeah, thighs like concrete, eh?
Yeah, I actually haven't trimmed or cut my hair in about, I don't know, maybe about 6 weeks. This is as long as it's been since the beginning, before the pandemic. And it's driving me absolutely nuts. I cannot handle having long hair. But that's okay. I'm not a professional soccer player from Europe, so not some Mediterranean soccer god.
It gets in your face, and then if your beard grows too long, it gets in your mouth, and you have to kind of blow out like that. You know, it's irritating.
I shave at least every other day. Yeah, so it's not a problem.
I have the laziness beard.
You've grown it just because you can be bothered to trim it?
Well, no, I cut it all off at once, and then I grow it out until it becomes a nuisance, and then I cut it all off again.
Oh, okay.
Sort of like a lawn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, shaving is just kind of a ritual, and if you do it right, it's not necessarily unpleasant. It's just a thing you do.
Yeah.
It's just
morning.
It's not a problem. It doesn't bother me.
You know, do what you want. It's just it takes too much time for me.
No, just screw the shaving. You get yourself some Veet or Nair for sensitive skin.
I hear that's really good for your skin. The sensitive skin one, yeah, you'll hardly break out at all doing that.
And then you put it all on there and burn the crap out of your hair.
Yeah,
you'll be fine.
Lasers work too. Go on eBay, get a used medical laser, and just laser your face yourself. That's where the smart money is.
Minions of the Zoo does not recommend.
Minions of the Zoo does not recommend that you take an industrial or medical laser and point it at your face yourself.
Anything with it.
You need a big satellite with the laser, like in Real Genius, how they had the laser that was gonna point down and kill people. Just point that at your face.
I forgot I had that set up.
Well played.
I'll just keep that on standby. Oh yeah, I have another one. Sora. I forgot I had this set up. Just wait, it actually gets better.
What's the bathroom?
Yeah.
Nice. That's so good.
Very perfect.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like,
Perfect.
Nice.
I set up
Yeah.
I figured out how to get
Oh,
OBS
that's
to play
good.
videos a little better now. So anytime we need it, I can also bring this up. So if we ever need to just wash the pain away, we've always got something on tap. Anyway, yeah, OBS. I'm just making it my bitch
I want a
finally.
baby
Okay.
deer.
How can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
How on earth did deer survive? They are so utterly
Delicious.
yeah, they're
Beautiful,
you can
adorable.
eat
Look
them.
at the
You can
babies.
eat them
Mhm.
and they seem so innocent. I've never seen a deer bite so I'm sure they do, but I've never seen it.
Dicks.
They wait, what?
They're dicks.
Oh, they're
The
dicks.
ones that are near their
Deer are-
civilization, they're
Dicks covered in
assholes.
ticks.
They're ruminants.
Mm.
Means they have a multi-chambered stomach. Anyway.
Well,
Well, no, I just wonder how like natural selection hasn't totally wiped them off. the
Audrey
face of the
Hepburn had a
planet.
pet deer. She used to take it all over the place.
They're really good at breeding. They're like very large rabbits, and they're a lot of deer made. I mean, they're a pest in parts of southern Alabama. They there's no limit. They want you to kill the whitetails.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Chad is saying something about trying hot knife shaving. What is hot knife shaving?
I assume it's where you cut off your head.
Well, because there's this
With a
whole
hot knife.
It may
thing.
not be that.
Let me see. What is hot knife shaving?
Well,
I
it's
mean,
what it
unless I'm
sounds
cutting
like to me.
styrofoam, I don't know. Let's see. Heated razor starter kit by Gillette Labs. Oh, okay. Huh. Okay. I actually don't do that. Not that anybody gives a crap about how Harry shaves, but I have a little granite bowl that I put the shaving soap in, and I get it just as hot as I can get the damn thing, so that the lather that I brush onto my face is nice and warm. That's about the amount of coddling I'm going to give my face. If that's not enough for my face, it can just deal. So let's see. What were we doing? Oh, we were doing a show. Yeah, people, daddies, right? Okay. Let's see. I have this as history. Oh, just a little piece of history. I'm going to skip this in the interest of time. Come back to that. Oh, here's another great piece of journalism for you. In the no shit Sherlock category, rent control doesn't solve housing shortages.
Imagine my shock.
I know. I was amazed as well. Now, everybody in California and a lot of places are trying to build a lot more housing. It's a topic we've talked about before in terms of ADUs, granny flats and all that sort of stuff, and get a lot of stuff rezoned. But somebody raised an excellent point. Generation Z may not need mortgages. Here's why. The reason is basically that there are so many fewer people being born that a lot of the people in Gen Z are, it's not like you've got like 10 kids, so you have to split the estate. All you kids, the other 9 of you go out into the world. There's a lot of Gen Zs that are just going to inherit something.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of Gen Zs that are going to end up with a house without ever having to get a mortgage, according to this article. And it may actually be right. I know a lot of people.
Some effect. You'd have to look at the numbers. You have to do some kind of careful big number crunching.
Granted, it will come with a lot of other problems.
Well, this is skewed toward Europe. So, okay, they say, so Generation Z, okay, sorry.
Okay, so that's a different, culturally, you got a little different vibe going on there.
Well, housing crises rage across Europe. Many members of Generation Z, those born after the year 2000, may soon find that the shoe is on the other foot. By analyzing mortgage trends and other data, my research has predicted a gradual shift away from long-term mortgage commitments among this generation. Inheritance will play a key part in this change. Slowing population growth, smaller families, and a concentration of property ownership in the aging baby boomer generation mean that inheritance rates have been climbing year on year. Generation Z therefore stands to benefit from Europe's declining birth rate, one of the lowest in the world at 1.53 children per woman. Put simply, there will be fewer young people to inherit houses and more houses for them to inherit. I think this holds for the U.S. as well. But immigration can skew all of this.
I just don't know that. Yeah, that's another thing. We have a big influx of immigrants.
Yeah, why do we
Yeah,
have a
who are
housing
here
shortage? I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Why is Fort Worth, Texas, 2.5 times the size of Detroit? Seriously.
But, I mean, this is something I hadn't actually thought about. Sora, you've studied history. I'm pretty sure. You seem like an educated person.
At one point.
Do you remember what happened after the Black Plague in Europe? Do you remember reading about that?
The invention of the printing press.
Well, what I was thinking of is that the people who worked in the fields, some of them would, talk about having bells on your toes. They would actually.
Oh, to make sure you actually were dead.
Well, no, they could command a much higher wage because so many people had died relative to all the capital that was out there, the fields and the houses and stuff, that just to get somebody to show up for work, you had to pay them way more than they did before. Congratulations on not dying. We desperately need people to do the work. And they were paid so well that as a status symbol, they would sometimes put silver bells on their shoes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so whenever you have like a huge number of people, a big swath of your population that gets eliminated, and the capital still remains, you can end up with a really interesting time to be alive. Maybe Gen Z isn't completely screwed, and they will own something despite Klaus Schwab's best efforts because of this topic that I'm bringing up here. Because in some ways, even though it's a self-imposed sort of thing, the effect is still similar to what happened with the Black Plague. Because you just depopulated your workforce. Here by change in birth rate versus a giant plague.
Wow, it's kind of weird thinking about like the declining birth rate as some sort of almost like an equivalent to a plague.
Actually, it means that the population of the world is going to level out. Most of the responsible statisticians think it's going to level out. 11 or 12 billion people are saying, Harry. Have you read any about that?
I'm always afraid to look at those numbers. I hope it doesn't hit 11 or 12. I mean, we're at 8 and some change now, like 8 1/4.
Yeah, we're up around 8. Yeah. I mean, we'll be okay.
Personally,
okay.
I think it's going to level out closer to 10, but that's just my back of the envelope sort of thing. And I haven't looked at it for about 5 years. So.
Yeah, I can remember thinking it would level out at 10 at one time. I did. I just never thought I would see it get to 8.
Well, just keep working out and taking your Geritol so you can be with us for a while, and then you and I can have a good laugh about which one of us was right in 10 years. Okay. So I have next section is what makes me happy. Are you guys familiar with Dignify AI?
I am not.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So somebody created a Twitter account where they take all of these saucy pictures that people have online and then use AI to make them more modest after the fact.
Yes.
Dignify.
I didn't realize that's what it was called. I've seen a bunch of these.
I've seen
Thank
these.
God for the pixelation.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yes, I like this.
We have Kristen Stewart, uncensored, dignified. This has got some people really pissed off.
Yeah, look how much better
really
she
pretty,
looks.
Actually, it's a gorgeous dress.
Yeah.
Well done, AI.
Yeah, look at this. Not traditional on the left, traditional on the right. I have to say, it's a very nice picture on the right.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what that garment's supposed to be from, like what region. I mean, it's obviously European, but I couldn't place it.
Yeah. But it's the pendulum swinging. The pendulum is swinging the other way. It's pissing off all the right people. I love it. I mean,
here's one with a dude.
I'm obviously not as old as you gentlemen, but like I remember a time when walking outside in your underwear was, I mean, generally frowned upon. You don't go walking around, go shopping in basically underwear.
I still don't.
You mean people had
but a lot of people do, Skep, and that's I mean, you should. You'd probably get a couple dollar bills thrown your way, but I mean,
yeah. Oh, and you can remove face tattoos with it too. Look at this. Look at this gentleman. Look at all the years of bad choices that have just been undone with artificial intelligence.
Someone put this on par with "It's Okay to Be White." Remember those posters? Remember that little thing a few years back? And I gotta say, I don't know if it's as good, but it's pretty damn close. In terms of
God,
society
does
jokes.
Not say it's okay to be white.
Oh dear.
We don't say that.
Oh my.
No, aren't people against the dignified AI? I think they've called it sexist or something because.
It's all the ists. It's
up
yeah.
what women look like or something like that.
Classist, sexist, ableist, you know.
Blah blah blah.
They're treating it as though it's akin to sexual assault to put more clothes on a person.
Yeah. How dare you put more clothes on?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Oh no.
Anyway, I kind of like that this exists because you're using AI to basically troll people. That's beautiful.
Photographic rape.
That's what they'll call it. Digital trolling. It's beautiful.
Digital rape.
Nice. Oh, let's see. Does Chat have an opinion about this? Holland. Yeah, I think that works. Yeah, Spittle Buggies. I like the AI better. Yes, I think we all like the AI better. Let's see. Here we go, Sora. I know you'll love this. Moment hungry raccoons steal Florida woman's DoorDash taco delivery.
Oh, yes.
They can have the carne asada.
I love this video.
Oh, you've seen this?
Yes.
I'm just doing it with the sound off.
But then if you look up, his buddy.
It's the fact that it's a Florida woman too is really awesome. A Florida woman's Taco
Honestly,
Tuesday.
I would give. Listen, that raccoon is hungrier than the Florida woman. She can give up her tacos.
Yeah. So it says here, a Florida woman's Taco Tuesday was spoiled when a gang of thieving raccoons swiped her DoorDash delivery from her doorstep, as seen in a hilarious video.
Why'd they gotta be a gang?
Katerina Savaris from West Palm Beach had just emerged from the shower about 2:30 a.m. and went to the door to pick up her late night snack when she was shocked to discover that her order from Tock and Taco had fallen into the paws of a nursery of raccoons. The taco enthusiast then decided to take a cell phone video, blah, 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 blah. Because why not? You know, wild animals just stole your food. Let's put it on TikTok. But raccoons are pretty damn funny.
Yeah.
Trash pandas, our national animal.
So these are things that make Harry happy. This next thing is probably going to be a present for imaginary girlfriend at some point. This is from ArtNet, and why am I not seeing anything? You piece of crap, you.
Oh, this is that Hunter Biden piece.
No.
Snow on a polar bear.
No. Stupid thing, it's not loading.
That's good. I like that.
Well, we'll come back to that some other episode, because I don't know why that's not loading, but it's pretty cool.
Ooh.
Whatever it is.
We'd like to see it.
So Yelp put together a group of Yelp elites for 2024 and came out with their list of top 100 pizza spots. I think this is probably a pretty terrible list, but I was a little bit surprised to see, well, I mean, everybody just cares about the list. For some reason, they put a place in Chicago as the #1 pizza place. First of all, I love this kind of pizza,
terrible.
but it's a casserole, not a pizza.
Right.
Okay. I mean, I had deep dish pizza literally 3 days ago. I mean, I really do like this style of pizza, but it's not really a pizza. #2 was a place in LA. Now, this is the kind of pizza I like. You know, classical pizza with like burrata, Neapolitan.
Yeah.
This is the kind of pizza I like to make. This is like the kind of pizza I like to eat, and it's in LA.
You like the kind of crunchy crust?
Oh yeah, the crust has to be properly cooked.
Okay.
Yeah. And the crust has to be worth eating by itself with no topping. If it isn't really good pizza.
Mm-hmm.
If there's leftover crust, you're eating shitty pizza. Again, just my personal opinion. But in this list of 50, there is not a single other place from California, or I'm sorry, of 100, there's not a single other place from California that makes this list. And I'm kind of surprised because I know for a fact there are more than a few decent places that probably belong on here. But anything that comes out of Yelp is kind of crap. Lombardi's in New York ended up being #3. So DrFunctional. Is there a really good pizza place in Toronto?
Oh, lots of them.
Name one.
There's a lot of, especially since the northern suburb, North York, huge Italian presence. So I'm blessed. Like, there's Italian sandwich shops, lots of good butchers, and yeah, lots of good pizza places too. Like, you know, you would say, oh, they're artisanal or whatever, but no, they're just traditional. What do they call them? Torterias? Terrarias? I don't know. There's an Italian name.
Trattorias.
Trattorias, that's it. And they are freaking tastic.
Yeah. So
I like a good Neapolitan, but I also like a good like American, not deep dish, like pan pizza.
I got to tell you, Detroit style pizza is like it's the love child of focaccia and a lot of bad choices. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Detroit style pizza is heavy and greasy, but essentially it's just like the crust is all toasty from being baked with all this olive oil and stuff under it. So the crust is like eating focaccia, and they actually put really nice ingredients on top. Oh my God, if you put pepperoni on top and it actually starts to cup, like in this picture, but lots of pepperoni, you can put a ton of meat on a Detroit-style pizza. It's good stuff. But anyway, but if you're talking about actual pizza, when you say pizza to me, this is pizza. Everything else is sort of descendant of pizza. Again, which doesn't mean that it's not worth eating. So Sora, what about you? Pizza.
Pizza.
What do you think? You like it? Is there a good place?
Neapolitan style. Oh, here?
Yeah.
There used to be a place called Goldie's that's gone. That was pretty good. Cheap and cheerful.
I like it.
Kind of pizza. Then there is a Neapolitan family style restaurant place that I quite like. That is also very, very good. And they make their own ice cream.
Sorry, I missed this one from Newport Beach. Yeah, no, that's really good. I mean, I could eat...
that looks actually that. Sometimes all I want is just a gross, super cheesy, super saucy pizza. That's all I want.
You really need to try Detroit pizza. That looks pretty damn good.
There's this place here, Sora, called Big Slice. It's a Young Street staple in the heart of downtown. You go in and you get one of those, but it is one of the best slices of pizza I've ever had. And it looks like something out of a bad 70s decor. They've been around that long. And the slice, I kid you not, is pretty much a single slice is the size that most places would give you for an entire like medium-sized pizza. It is ginormous. Nice. With inflation now, it's probably like $10, but like when I was a teenager and was hanging out downtown all the time, it was like $3-4 for that fucking just huge slice. Perfect after club food or whatever, or just like you're in the area, because like I said, one of the best slices of pizza I've ever had, and it is so good and so greasy. Oh,
yeah. I like this style of pizza too. The thing about Chicago pizza, like if you get a Lou Malnati's, they're gonna take this pepperoni and put it underneath the tomato sauce, so it's not going to get all of the beautiful crispification. It's not going to be as delicious as this is because the pepperoni goes on top. And I like Chicago style pizza, do not get me wrong, but I think it's a mistake.
It's a casserole.
Well, that's why if I order Chicago style pizza and there's meat on it, I'll go sausage, not pepperoni, because it is a sin to bury pepperoni under a sea of tomato sauce, because this is what pepperoni is supposed to be like.
I'm so picky about pepperoni. I almost don't eat it on pizza anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good looking pizza.
Wait. You've had them where they put it under the tomato sauce?
Lou Malnati's puts the pepperoni underneath the tomatoes, underneath the tomato sauce.
What's wrong with them?
It's insane. And what makes it really maddening?
You can't put it under the sauce.
Because they use
the pepperoni.
They use a really good quality of pepperoni, and you can taste the potential, but you never get it because some moron buried it under a thing of sauce.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
I had
Anyway,
this
I love
really
pizza.
nice like Philly cheesesteak inspired pizza the other day. Oh
Mhm.
my god. Oh my god. And like you could tell that this was truly inspired by a good Philly cheesesteak because they used the proper type of cheese. It wasn't like pizza mozzarella. It
Mhm.
was really good beef, really well seasoned, really well cooked.
Mm.
And the onions and peppers were done on the flat top before they put it to bake it on the pizza. It was so perfect. Oh my god. I could not believe it.
Yeah.
And I'm usually not brought in by those, hey, this is the tandoori pizza. This is the chicken fried rice pizza. Like I generally
Chicken
fucking
fried rice pizza.
I mean,
I actually quite like butter
it's
chicken
so
pizza.
ridiculous that somebody's done it, Skep.
Yeah.
You know somebody's
Listen,
done something that's
butter chicken pizza is delicious.
I like the fried eggs and
It is.
beans on pizza.
It's really, really good.
I actually
Oh,
had
the,
my first sort of
they call it the
Indian
old
The English
up here.
pizza. The
Yeah,
English
they called it
topping.
the old English up here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sora,
I mean,
there
they're
are
all
places that are open like practically 24 hours a day in Silicon Valley where you can where they will make you a big ass pizza with butter chicken and stuff on it and just deliver it in 15 minutes. It's insane. Super thin crust, really good. It's not great in the sense of being pizza, but it's absolutely delicious, and I am not too good to eat that. I mean, I'm not sure I'd call it pizza by the time they get done with it, but it's awfully good.
Interesting.
Sorry, I'm being such a word Nazi
it's
about
fun.
the name pizza, but yeah, you are absolutely right. Butter chicken pizza is amazing.
They're all
And-
just different types of pizza. It just has to be executed well. I mean, like I said, chicken fried rice pizza, that probably will never work, but you never know. There might be some culinary genius that somehow makes it work. But I mean, putting a starch on a starch is generally a no-no in cooking.
Mhm.
And something
Maybe
as
if they
starchy as
infuse
rice
it
on-
with beef cells.
Yeah, like I mean, if you think about it, sushi pizza, it's first of all, it's not pizza, but it's in that kind of spirit of things. It kind of works depending.
I've
on
had flatbread things that were shaped like pizza.
Yeah.
One with it was actually at a pretty fancy place. You would have liked this place, Sora. It's called Viognier. How freaking pretentious is that? And they had this really nice sort of round flatbread sort of thing. It had smoked salmon, red onion, caviar, creme fraiche, and like a little bit of herbage on it. And you just eat this thing. God, it was good. I'm sorry, I'm being such a cliche. Okay, moving on. Sorry. Why are we talking about this? Oh, yeah. Here's another thing that's been in the news that's got people all worked up. Tesla's Cybertruck may not be so stainless after all.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I know. Jack, why do people paint cars and bridges and ships?
Because it prevents rust in a really effective way.
Yeah, it's like it's a barrier. And now aluminum doesn't particularly rust, but as you probably know, the thing about aluminum is it almost immediately forms a layer of aluminum oxide. And that's what protects the aluminum. It's the aluminum oxide.
Aluminum oxide does that. That's why you galvanize steel, because the galvanization is a zinc coating on top of it, and that forms its own oxide that helps prevent rust beneath it. So there are all sorts of things that people do. Stainless steel, from my understanding, is not actually stainless per se, especially dependent on the quality of it. And what's more, all of this kind of sounds like they're going to run into the exact same problems as the DeLorean.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you have a car like this, just because it's stainless steel does not mean that you don't need to like put sort of some kind of finish coat on it, like a wax or something else. It may look really good and it may be bulletproof and it may be all sorts of things, but steel will corrode. There's all kinds of different steel. There's steel that's easy to form. There's steel that's really flexible. There's steel that's really strong. There's lots of different things, and how you mix the iron and the carbon and the amount of carbon and then the trace minerals that you had put in, like vanadium, change the characteristics of the steel. How you put it together, because it's really an amalgamation of things. It isn't a solution. It's an amalgamation of things. The physical properties of the steel can, you can play that thing like an instrument if you're a metallurgist, but there are certain compromises you have to make. And to be able to take the steel and make it into a truck shape, they probably had to give up on some of the corrosion resistance, because just practically speaking, it would be impossible to form those car parts out of some of the really ridiculous steel. Plus, you'd never be able to afford it. The car would be like $5 million. You couldn't make a truck out of the same stuff that my global knives are made out of.
Incidentally, as far as the corrosion resistance on bridges goes, there you'll find oftentimes if you go down to the Home Depot that a lot of the rebar they sell there actually still has the corrosion on it, because that helps with adhesion to the concrete that they put it in.
Good to know. And you know, actually, we should add you talking about concrete to the drinking game for Minions, I think.
Oh, shit. I did it again. I did it again. How did I do it again? It's so easy not to... It is so easy not to talk about concrete. Why did I do that?
All roads lead to Rome and concrete, and Roman concrete.
Let's talk about Rome.
I have a thing about Rome from last week that we skipped, and oddly, it was about the durability of Roman concrete. But with Jack here, we're definitely not talking about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Why companies are leaving the cloud? The cloud was like the big thing. All these companies like, why own systems? That's for chumps. Running data centers is dumb, and you're stupid. So they put all of this stuff in the cloud, but the trouble is that they didn't put cloud type work in the cloud. They just took stuff that was local and moved it into the cloud, and then paid a ton of money for the privilege of having somebody else run this stuff. And a whole bunch of companies now are starting to look at moving their cloud stuff, their public cloud stuff, back in-house. I just mentioned this because this is something I predicted about 3 or 4 years ago, and a lot of people just sort of patted me on the head verbally and said, yeah, they're there. But no, it's actually starting to happen. So it says 25% of organizations surveyed in the United Kingdom have already moved half or more of their cloud-based workloads back to on-premises infrastructures. And of course, well, what does this mean? Well, it means sales of computers are going to be different. Supermicro has had a fantastic last quarter. Their stock is way up. And part of the reason why is because people are bringing this stuff in-house, and also because they're running AI workloads and GPU type stuff on them. Because if you think the cloud's expensive, try running GPUs in the cloud. Oh my God.
Yes, sir.
Just grab your ankles and walk around the internet. That's basically not good. Sorry, but yeah, I just sort of mentioning this is an offhand thing. Do we have any of our geek people in the... okay. All right.
Any known geeks joining us this evening?
Yeah. But I'm actually surprised it isn't 100%, not 25%. Yeah, give it time. I mentioned something in a previous episode about how benchmarks are done for supercomputers, and I mentioned a thing called LinPack, and there are other things as well. Well, it turns out that 2,600 official Intel CPU benchmarks that SPAC, the people who run this particular, the standard, they manage the standard and the listings for the big companies that test their supercomputers and macho flops, said, well, we're just going to invalidate those because it looks like Intel decided to make their chips look really good by putting a hack into their compiler that fudges the numbers. Why not? Why build a chip that's really, really fast when you can just make the compiler fake it?
Yeah.
You essentially put in shortcuts into the compiler to make it spit the results that the benchmark are looking for out faster.
Wow.
So
that's teaching the test.
So 2,600 Intel CPU benchmarks that Spec maintains in their database have now been completely invalidated. And people will have to rerun the benchmarks so they can brag about how fast their supercomputers are using a different compiler.
You'll have to find more clever ways to lie, fellas.
Yeah. Yeah. Spec says it will no longer be publishing Spec CPU 2017 results for Intel CPUs running a specific version of the Intel compiler, citing displeasure over an apparent targeted optimization for a specific workload, basically the benchmark. That essentially amounts to cheating. Oops. This is just like when Volkswagen fudged the numbers on their diesel emissions. It's the
I
same.
remember
It's
that.
the same kind of bullshit. Whenever there's money involved, money and sex, people just lie. That's the problem. Hey, Jack. This could be. I don't know if this is probably a Jack thing. Have you heard about this? The Minesto. It is a 28-ton, 1.2 megawatt tidal kite, and it's actually putting power out to the grid near the Faroe Islands.
So is this one of those things where the tide goes up, tide goes down, and it moves a mechanism, and that mechanism generates power?
This is way cooler because those mechanisms are expensive and they don't work very well.
Yeah.
This thing is actually freaking cool because what it does is it's like a giant kite that is tethered in the water. And you know how when you have a kite, you can make it sort of go really, really quickly by making it move in a figure-8 pattern, you know, up and over and turn and figure-8. The controller on this thing, on this tether, makes this water kite move in that fashion. So the thrust that's hitting that propeller in the back, that's basically a rotor attached to a generator,
Taking advantage of the
runs
sure.
is the flow of the current is much faster than the flow of the current over the water kite.
Right.
And this thing actually produces a levelized cost of producing energy, which is a lot better. So it says, for unfair comparison, Orbital, this is one of those other offshore things that does the up and down thing you're talking about. It's hoping for a levelized cost of energy less than 253 megawatts, dollars per megawatt hour for the very first one, and they're hoping that they'll get it down to 89. The Dragon 2 is actually coming in cheaper than regular wind turbines. And this isn't just a fantasy. This is a thing that's actually producing power on the grid. 1.2 megawatts of power is being put on the grid by this device. Because there's so much talk about shit that I don't want to talk about. But this is real. This is actually like powering 1,000 homes.
Have you ever seen the YouTube channel Undecided?
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good channel that talks about stuff just like this all the time for anyone in the audience.
And it's a good channel. But yeah, this gives you an idea of how big this kite is. But something like this has a lot of potential, I think.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's like something for the Faroe Islands too, like it could be something that would be fantastic for really small communities, right?
Yep.
So make them a little bit more independent.
I mean, and the thing is, the tide is usually either going in or going out. You know, there's almost always
it's fairly kind of predictable.
Tide goes in, tide goes out. You can't explain it.
That's right. You can't explain it. I mean, a lot of this green stuff is just bullshit. I think this is actually a pretty darn good idea, and it's relatively easy to install. Even, I mean, this is a pretty sweet thing. Sorry, I thought I had another link here, but I don't have it. But essentially, you know what I'm talking about with the figure-8 pattern.
Let me ask you something about this, Harry. So that thing easily being towed through the water generates enough power to run that boat, right?
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah. No, that's totally how it works, Skep. No, but I can imagine this being used, near the San Juan Islands. There's a lot of like channels between islands that get some pretty good tidal. Yeah.
Any of the Alaska passages, the inner passage up there. Yeah.
As long as it doesn't Cuisinart a bunch of sea lions or something, it'll be fine. But yeah, I think this is actually cool because it works.
If I learned anything from my sustainability class, it's that there's a cottage industry of people who just write articles discussing all the negatives. They're just a bunch of negative Nancys, all the negatives about any sustainable technology.
Nattering nabobs of negativism.
Yeah, they never offer any solutions to anything. They just go to whatever is new and hot, and they're like, yeah, well, it doesn't work like this. There are trade-offs, and that's why we should not use anything and just die. Just come on.
Yeah.
So don't worry, there'll be plenty of that.
Yeah. Well, it's like working code. Working code, speaks loud,
Running
speaks
code.
really loudly. If you've got
Right.
code that works, that's great. If you've got something that actually is putting power onto the grid and people are, that's like a whole different level than just
yes.
hypothetical talk
Yeah,
about
no,
stuff.
I'm all for,
Absolutely.
I think this is actually a really good idea, and I normally don't get that excited about stuff like this, but I'm thinking about all the places I know where you could put a bunch of these out, and why not?
Harry wants to buy one, take it out trolling,
Yeah.
generate power.
Yeah, take it out to
Yeah,
You're a
Elkhorn
power
Slough.
generating guy.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna come back in a few years, and Harry's gonna have a massive silo acting as a sand battery, and it's just gonna be heating his entire house throughout the year.
Absolutely. Right now
Harry
I'm
will
using
get the cold
gas.
fusion thing figured out.
So, did you guys hear about this? This kind of threw me off because I was thinking originally, how is this possible? Elon Musk moves SpaceX to Tesla after Delaware revoked his Tesla salary package. I had to actually think about this for a bit. He was going to get a bunch of money for being Elon, and some investors decided, no, you're getting paid too much money. And I'm thinking, how is it that Delaware can override what the board says?
First, what do you
I know the answer now. But
okay, yeah, you understand what's going on.
so essentially, it went to a hearing, and Delaware said that he has so much undue influence over the people on the board that they're not independently exercising their fiduciary responsibility when setting his compensation. So Elon basically said, screw you. I'm just going to not be incorporated in Delaware anymore. I'm just going to incorporate in Texas, where life is easier in these regards. Done and done.
Yeah, people incorporate in Delaware because of the court of equity situation.
Right.
And but I love this. I think this is
a great story.
Yes, this is just makes my heart warm.
Because it really confused me for a bit. I was like, where does Delaware get off deciding how much Elon Musk gets to make?
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have anything to do with it being Elon. It's just like, why would they get to decide how much anybody makes? And it's like, okay, I can sort of see your argument. I do think it is a bit of a crab in a bucket kind of thing. I think there's a lot of people with an axe to grind against him because he's successful. And I would be not at all surprised if the Delaware people weren't as unbiased as they should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Let's see. Oh, let's see. We actually don't have a whole lot of show left. Let's see. We can table that. Oh, let's see. Sora's going to want to see this. Flea toad may be the world's smallest vertebrate. It is not only the world's smallest vertebrate, it is the world's smallest amphibian. So a trio of biologists at Universidade Schempp de Santa Cruz in Brazil has verified that a tiny frog, also known as the Brazilian flea toad, which is found only in southern Brazil, is not only the world's smallest amphibian, it is also the world's smallest vertebrate. You can't get one, Sora. They're very endangered.
No.
I'm sorry. It's 7 millimeters long.
Can I ask a question?
So, aka very easy to smuggle.
Very easy to smuggle.
How do they find it? How do they find these things?
It's literally somebody's job to go out and find things like this.
I know, but how? It's so small.
Well, it says here, researchers first discovered the tiny frog back in 2011. The discovery team found evidence that the frog lives on only a few hills in the southern part of Bahia in Brazil. At the time, researchers also believed the frog was a toad, hence its name. So they ventured to a site where the original specimens were found and caught and released several more after measuring them and checking them for signs of maturity. They wanted to make sure those they measured were adults. Yeah, 7 millimeters. That's a freaking small frog. I figured Sora would like a frog this size. It's just cute because of its size, right?
You're talking about something that's a quarter
I love
of an
frogs
inch.
to begin with.
Ah, okay.
Quarter of an inch long.
Yeah. You like frogs.
Itty bitty baby frogs like that is adorable too.
Just think how many of them you could keep in a terrarium in your house.
Hundreds. Thousands.
Because they hardly take up any room. Just keep them away from that turtle we saw earlier and they'll be fine.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
I know I missed my opportunity, but Skep, we're going to long. I thought we were going to talk about this stream.
It's all right. Okay. Let's see. So we should probably just go to the last thing of the night. We can save the science stuff for later. I would say, do we have to do any more palette cleansers? I like this one. This is what I just call mini cannon. This makes me happy. I want one of these so badly.
Oh yeah.
I want one of those so badly.
That looks like some fun.
That's from the Weapon Master channel. I have a feeling there's a lot more good content on Weapon Master. So, let's see what else.
Awesome.
Oh, let's see. We have a meme which amused me. I've not posted this to Minions, so this is the first time that many of you have seen it. Okay. You remember that old
that is
Nirvana
terrible.
cover?
Yep.
That's terrible.
Oh dear.
I also saw an ad for this person, and this is Gad Schwartz from MSNBC or NBC News Now. It's like, does everybody there look like Rachel Maddow now? Is this what's going
It really
on?
does.
Yeah, you're required to look like Rachel Maddow. That is actually a requirement.
Does he make cocktails on Friday? I don't know. Man.
Oh my God.
I didn't know
Rachel
she had
Maddow,
another sister.
She looks like an 8th grade boy.
Yeah.
Wait, that's a woman?
No, that's a dude.
Oh, okay.
Is it? I don't know. I actually,
No,
maybe
that-
I'm
Yes.
wrong.
Cannot tell.
Yes.
I was gonna say he looks like he's going to show me around Google.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, so I have a little slideshow I've put together for you, which I'm just simply
Yes.
calling Valentine Fails. Okay.
Eh.
I've never
Alright.
used the slideshow feature, so let's see if I can do this competently. Okay. Okay, apparently I killed all the audio and people have just been seeing pictures. So much for technical excellence. Okay, I just got a note from Eve saying, nobody can hear you.
Oh.
No. Okay.
Oh, okay.
We've been having a grand time.
Let me fix
It's time to
that.
end the show, so goodbye.
I told you I've only done an image show one time, so let's see.
No, you're doing great here.
Let me fix this. Yeah, everything's going
While
fine,
you're at
right?
it.
Right?
Yeah.
Eve is
You should
watching.
always stop
Why won't
tweeting.
she say hello?
Because you're here.
Oh.
Okay, that shoulda oughta fix it. You guys can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Better?
realize that. Hang on.
Okay.
Well, I could always.
So we're busy laughing at this stupid slideshow. Okay. So yes, you bang your Valentine, we got the rest. Okay.
Yeah, you're fine on the watch channel.
Okay. Competency. I said I was going to give you guys technical competency, and I did not live up to that promise. Sorry about that. I tried so hard.
No, you.
Okay.
God.
Here's one. Happy Valentine's Day. Okay, gentlemen, it's that time of year, but no need to panic, have no fear. We have just the gift for Valentine's Day. Give her a gift that she'll use every day, a shiny new throne to call her own.
The low price of $5.98.
For the princess, a Gerber Comfort Height Complete. Or for the queen, Toto Drake Comfort Height Complete. Yeah, go for the Toto. Those are good. Japanese people seem to be weird at
soft close
toilets.
seat.
Yeah, soft closed seat. That way, you know, in the middle of the night, you won't make that clank.
I like that it's like $500 for those things. I mean,
The Japanese ones are kind of expensive.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this? Happy Valentine's Day.
Hey, some people are lonely and they
Lonely.
Yeah.
want. I don't know what, but they
Lonely
want
folks
it.
need what they need. And
All right.
sometimes healthy vegetables.
Here you go. Surprise your Valentine.
Yeah.
I think this is what went on at Paul Pelosi's place, right? Wasn't it time for underwear hammer party?
This year, give her the gift she really wants.
give her the gift she deserves.
Okay, here's a sign for Kerrigan, Estes, Rankin, McLeod, and Thompson injury lawyers. It says accidental death with hearts.
With little hearts.
Oh my
Death hearts.
Oh
But
Their
my.
souls evaporated.
But Harry,
Yeah.
do they spend their money on hookers?
At TDI, we're different. We
Yep.
never charge our prostitutes to your account. Oh, that's one of my all-time favorite things. It really is. Here's a nice gift. It's like a hip flask wrapped in leather, and it has a little heart that says alcohol on it.
I need that.
for the alcoholic in your life.
Yeah. Some of these next ones are pretty terrible, I got to tell you. Like this one. I'm not even gonna comment.
No.
Not even gonna comment.
No.
Okay.
What?
Yep.
Don't you
No.
believe in love?
Yeah.
Butthole is a good butthole.
Yeah, there we go. Just keep everything tidy in case visitors show up. Okay, so yeah, next.
Surprise!
Happy Valentine's Day. Okay, what I want you to do is put together a nice display. Anything that's like red or pink, just throw it in there and put a Valentine's Day sign in front of it.
So
What is it about that?
they've got colon cleanse,
Mhm.
wet wipes, and pepper spray.
pepper
I
spray.
want to know what exactly is the.
What
It's the
order do
ingredients
you
of a
use
happy
these things in?
Valentine's.
It's the Boy Scouts motto: be prepared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just put all the red stuff by the Valentine's display. It'll be fine. I like the pink pepper spray. That's pretty good. Okay, let's see. We're almost there. Again, offered without comment.
Get your throat game ready.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Move up with some of these bad boys.
Okay, Valentine's Day movies. Twilight Forever, American Psycho. Spit on your grave and let me in.
Nice.
I'm such an
And that
overgrown
is just
child.
completely done on purpose. That's great. I love that.
And finally, from our friends in the UK, love sausage, heart-shaped pork sausage wrapped in smoked bacon, delicious, cooked with eggs for the perfect Valentine's breakfast.
Oh,
Because, you know,
Damn right. Oh.
because if you make it heart-shaped, then it's totally fine. And forget the fact that it's called love sausage.
sausage.
That actually would be a great name for a punk band. Love
Yeah.
sausage.
Love sausage.
I'm sorry. It's a ridiculous name.
Yeah, you get it at Poundland, right? Cannibalistic Wizard.
Right. Want some pound cake
No,
with
even
that love
better.
sausage?
99,
No,
99 piece store.
No, you get it at BJ's.
Good times. Well, you know what? We've done it again.
Wasted another 2 hours of your life with us.
Yep. You've survived another 2
Yay.
hours on Saturday night. So we've had
It's
cute
gonna
animals, we've had tech news, business comments, Harry being dense about society, lots of good things. I had
Thank you, Harry,
fun.
for making the effort to put it together, bud.
Hey, thank you, panel. Any last words from anybody before we go?
Butts.
Butts.
Veni vidi vici.
Love sausage.
Love sauce.